people should you avoid? There are people out there who will kill your dreams just by being in their presence, or at least that's what our good friend, the cheeky scientist Isaiah Hankel, has said. He's chronicled the types of people that we should avoid, and he's here with us today. Dr. Isaiah Hankel, welcome to Smart Life.
Hi, Dr. Gina. Good to be back.
Good to have you. Now, people killing our dreams. I mean, what a horrifying thought. No one wants to think that we're that easily influenced by the people in our lives. But you say that the reality is that there are certain people out there who are not just buzzkill, but dream killers.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that you should just be a little bit more cautious with who you let into your life, because the person next to you will affect your future. And this has been shown time and time again, a lot of really cutting edge studies, that the people that you hang out with really affect kind of your positive or negative nature.
And so you name some of these people. You give them, I would say, cheeky titles, as you would tend to do. And you say that some of those are the Siren, the Martyr, the Goat. And we, of course, don't have time to go through all of them. But give us some of the most important particulars on this, Dr. Hankel.
Yeah, so some of the ones I think that can be, very tempting people to allow into your life would be the Siren, for example. And in the book, The Odyssey, by Homer, it's a very old book. There's a story about Odysseus, who is the hero in the book, and he's told to avoid these sirens, these mythical creatures, these beautiful women, half-bird creatures that sing this amazing song and lure sailors who are going across the ocean towards them and end up devouring them or something like that. It's mythology. So that's where the siren word comes from. And I think in life that there are certain people, and they're really amazing, they're beautiful, they're brilliant, whatever they are, but they can really pull you off your individual track. They can kind of take you away from their dreams and make you chase them or chase their own dreams instead of your own. And that's where you can get into trouble.
Oh, that's fascinating. But shouldn't we have our dreams well enough defined at a certain point in our lives that we're just not so easily distractible, even by the Siren personality type?
That's a great theory, and I completely agree with it. But I think that for a lot of people that who don't really know what they want, that other people can kind of influence them in a way that will keep them from maybe finding what their dream is or what their purpose is, and keep them focused on things that aren't related to what they truly want. Because it's really easy in life to kind of convince yourself that you want what somebody else wants and not really what's right for you.
How much does personality play into that? You and I have discussed personality quite a lot here on Smart Life, but I would think that personality would matter a lot, because I feel personally like my personality is not the type that's easily distracted, yes, but easily thrown off of a goal or a mission, just not so much me. But are there certain personality types that this should be a red flag for them because they're more likely to be lured by the siren?
Yeah, so personality types that get maybe fascinated very easily with things, and they can go off on tangents and think that, this is what's right for me, or people that are really looking, maybe they might feel a little bit lost, which isn't always a bad thing, but when you feel that way, you should be especially cautious, because that's when you might be looking for an answer or somebody else's answer instead of your own.
Interesting. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about other dangerous types of people that we let kill our dreams in our lives. I know for one, there are a lot of people who come into, especially in our world, your world and my world, very competitive types. And I tend to think competition is almost always a good thing. But the amount of time and specifically maybe mentorship that we give those people, we should be cautious with.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up confrontational people, which is great, because one of the people on the list is called the Ares. And this was the god of war in Greek mythology. And these Ares-type people, they're very confrontational. They're the people that are addicted to kind of drama and winning at all costs. Maybe they'll cause fights even when there's nothing on the other end of it, just so that they have a battle to engage in. And these people can be a big distraction.
Yeah,
and I think
no doubt. I can see these people right in front of my eyes. Go ahead. You were going to say one more thing.
No, and I said it's interesting because there was a very neat study done that showed that people who engaged with confrontational people instead of ignoring them actually performed more poorly on tests afterward. So I think it shows you that you actually make worse decisions when you engage with confrontational people instead of just ignoring them.
And the reality, though, Dr. Hankel, as you know, in our professional lives, and heck, I hate to say it, but even our family lives, at least extended family, you're going to have some of these people that are the dream killers you're talking about in your article. You can't just eliminate everybody from your life that isn't working well for you. So are we talking about cutting back? Are we talking about cutting off? And if so, what are the various scenarios where you can really cut someone out of your life?
Yes, and that's going to be a personal decision for everyone. But I think that a lot more elimination can happen than you might think. You know, if there are those people in your life that constantly bring you down and they really appeal to you by through the use of guilt, for example, making you feel bad about yourself, or maybe reminding you there's someone called the elephant on the list. These people that remind you of past mistakes that you've made or past lowly positions that you've had to kind of keep you in check. These aren't people you should keep in your life. They really don't have your best interest. And guess what? You can't save them. A lot of people like being that way.
And so for the people who, there's another type of personality that I didn't see specifically defined here, so maybe you can help me. It's that person that just drains my energy. And I can't even explain it in solid terms, but I know them when I meet them. And they're the kind of person that just zap the energy out of the room. Usually people quite vivacious in their own right. They have a lot of energy. But after I'm away from them or after I have a conversation with them, I feel like they drank me. You know, like there's just nothing left of me. I'm drained now. Does that fit into one of the categories you're talking about?
I think a little bit. I mean, you mentioned high energy, and I've noticed that there's a certain person that comes into my life every now and then, and I call them the goat here, because goats are these like very energetic, wildly charismatic, big talking, kind of full of luck people that are also kind of devious, and they don't really have your best interest at heart. They like to really just stir things up and make you run around in circles just to bring you down, and maybe they don't even know that they're doing it, but they do it. So that might be that. I mean, somebody else who's another real energy killer on the other end of the spectrum, I call the black cat. The people that kind of have a black cloud walking over their, floating over their heads. They're always down in the dumps. They're very negative, and they just make you feel depressed afterwards. They're always sitting in the pits. And I think a lot of people try to help these people because they want to be a good person, but they like sitting in the pits. A lot of these people like being negative. They like the attention that it gives them. So you should just let them sit there.
And you make a great point, because I think in life, one of the major mistakes I've made is trying to help maybe too many people at one time, and finding, looking back on those relationships in my life that I put a whole lot of energy maybe into trying to help that person for maybe not that much benefit for them, if I'm really honest with myself, certainly no benefit to me. How do you know if you do have a relationship with somebody that maybe takes a lot from you, but you really are effectively helping them, or you're wasting your time? How can you know that?
I'm glad you asked that question. I was anticipating it because it is a very important question, probably the most important question. And I'll give you a very simple answer. Pay attention to how they respond to your advice or your help. Do they take action? That's the question. If they ask for your help and you give it to them and you show them the way, you teach them how to fish, and just instead of just giving them fish, and they go and try whatever you showed them how to do, or they go to try to pick themselves up, then I'll continue to help them. But if they just want to whine and complain and not take any action, that's when you should stop helping them.
And then there's always the codependent situation, quickly, because we're almost out of time, where the relationship might feel really productive to us, but if you really look at the levels of the relationship and are you both improving based on your relationship, then it might be a codependent relationship. How do you fit all that into this?
No, that goes along with the same thing. So you shouldn't just evaluate the other person's actions and progress. You should evaluate your own too, always.
Great point.
Is being around this other person good for not just them, but is it good for you as well?
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Hankel, tell everybody where they can find you and the article, 14 People Who Will Kill Your Biggest Dreams. Tell us about it.
Yes, that article is on my personal blog, IsaiahHankel.com.
IsaiahHankel.com. Well, it sounds like we were negative today. We didn't mean to be that negative, but I love the way you you like to take these things that most people would talk about, just who's good for you in your life, and you kind of talk about the thing that's harder to talk about, and that's who should you maybe think about cutting that time down that you're spending with that person. So Dr. Hankel, thank you so much for being with us. The cheeky scientist himself. We always enjoy you, Dr. Hankel. Thanks.
Thank you.
And we have heard that there are certain kinds of people to avoid. But up next, clinical psychologist Dr. Dathan Paterno is going to join us to tell us what kinds of people we should associate with. And remember, coming up later in the show, we're going to go to your calls and emails. That number, 888-650-8176. Or you can go to the Smart Life page, moneybizlife.com, and click on the Dr. Gina button to send us an email. We'll get this. We'll get it together. Stay with me for more Smart Life coming up right after this.